If you want to build anything in Mumbai, I mean anything, there's one document that is your entire world. It's the Development Control and Promotion Regulation 2034, and really, it's the city's architectural Bible. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that complexity and give you the 10 rules you absolutely positively have to get right.
So this is it, the official rulebook straight from the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. You know, the DCPR 2034 isn't just a stack of paper, it is the actual blueprint for the city's future. It controls pretty much everything about how Mumbai grows and how it houses its millions of people.
And let's be honest, trying to navigate this thing can feel like a full-time job. It is just packed with hundreds of pages of super technical specs and dense legal jargon. And a single misstep, one tiny misinterpretation of a clause, it can send a multi-core project completely off the rails. The stakes are just incredibly high.
And that's exactly why we're doing this. We've gone through it all, sifted through the regulations to pull out the absolute essentials for you. So, what are the 10 rules that you absolutely cannot afford to ignore? Let's dive in.
Okay, we're going to start with part 1, the foundation. These are the big ones, the rules that define the scope, the scale, and the very potential of your project, right from day one.
First up, rule number 1, development permission. This comes straight from Regulation 9, and it is your absolute, non-negotiable starting point. Before a single brick is laid, you need this official green light. No permission, no project. It is truly that simple.
Okay, next, rule number 2, the all-powerful Floor Space Index, or FSI. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like it's your plot's development budget. It's a very precise ratio that tells you the absolute maximum floor area you're allowed to build based on your land size. This one number basically shapes the entire scale of your building.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Your FSI isn't just some fixed number. It's directly tied to the infrastructure that's already around your plot. Just look at this table. The wider the road next to your plot, the higher your FSI can be. It's the city's way of saying, hey, we want more density where we have the infrastructure to actually support it.
Rule 3 brings in a really key concept, fungible compensatory area, or FCA. See, under the old rules, things like balconies or flower beds, they were often FSI-free. Well, the DCPR 2034 changed all that. Now, they're counted as part of your total built-up area, but you can purchase this extra fungible area to build them. It's a way to add those valuable features, but in a totally regulated way.
Now let's talk about rule number 4, transferable development rights, or TDR. This is a really powerful tool in urban planning. So imagine a landowner gives up some land for a public project, say a new road. As compensation, they get a TDR certificate. And that certificate, it acts like a development credit that can be sold on the market and then used by another developer to increase the FSI on a totally different plot.
So here's the bottom line. TDR is basically a tradable asset that boosts your main core FSI. FCA, on the other hand, is a direct add-on you buy for your specific project for things like balconies. Both let you build more, sure, but they work in completely different ways, and knowing how to use both, that's a real game changer.
All right, on to part 2, the social contract. Now these rules are all about how every new building project has to give back, how it has to contribute to the city as a whole. This is where your individual project meets the wider needs of Mumbai.
And Rule 5, inclusive housing is a perfect example of this. If you're developing a big plot, we're talking over 4,000 square meters, it's not just about your luxury apartments anymore. The DCPR says you must contribute to the city's affordable housing stock. That means either handing over a piece of your land or a certain number of built apartments to the housing authority.
Next up, Rule 6, which is all about green space. And here's a direct quote from Regulation 27. It says the requirement of LOS shall be 15%. Okay, so LOS stands for Layout Open Space. What does that legal phrase actually mean for you?
Well, it means this. You have to set aside at least 15% of your entire plot as open, green, recreational space. It's not optional. It's a mandatory rule to make sure new developments have lungs for the community, places where people can relax and connect with a bit of nature in this incredibly dense city.
Now for Rule 7, and this is one of the most socially important parts of the entire code, slum rehabilitation. And this whole massive policy really hinges on one very specific number, 27.88 square meters.
That number represents a home. Under the slum rehabilitation scheme, this is the absolute minimum carpet area a developer has to provide totally free of charge to every single eligible resident they're rehousing.
This is a regulation with a deeply human impact, ensuring a baseline for a dignified life. And here you can see it for yourself, right in the source text. This is the exact clause from Regulation 3310 that makes that number the law. It's not just a suggestion, it is a legal mandate that is the bedrock of all of these massive redevelopment projects. Okay, moving on to Part 3, Designing a Safe Building. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty, the critical rules that are all about the physical safety and structural integrity of your building, literally from the ground up.
So let's kick things off with Rule 8, Marginal Open Space. As you can see from this direct quote from Regulation 41, the second your building's height goes over 32 meters, the rules about the open space you have to leave around it get a whole lot stricter. You should think of this as the breathing room rule. This isn't just wasted land around your building. It's a functional necessity for light, for air, and most importantly, for emergency access. The principle is just simple common sense. The taller your building gets, the more open space you need at its base.
And that breathing room ties directly into Rule 9, fire safety. Once a building crosses that 32-meter mark, it's officially a high-rise, and a whole new set of safety rules kick in. You need a road next to it that's at least 9 meters wide, and your marginal open space must be big enough for, and I love this phrase from the code, the maneuverability of a fire engine. These aren't just bureaucratic boxes to tick. These rules are designed to save lives.
All right, finally, we're at Part 4, the finish line. You followed all the rules, the building is standing, it looks amazing. But how do you actually get it from being a structure to being a place where people can legally live and work? Well, Rule 10, laid out in Regulation 11, gives us the exact step-by-step process. You have to start with a notice of work. Then you face a critical inspection at the plinth level. Once construction's all done, the architect submits a completion certificate. That triggers one last official inspection, which hopefully leads to the golden ticket, the occupancy certificate, or OC. Without that, nobody can legally move in.
And that brings us to the end. These 10 rules, they really are the foundation for mastering Mumbai's incredibly complex but incredibly important building code. Getting them right isn't just an option, it's everything.
So let's just run through that checklist one last time, quick fire. Get your development permission. Calculate FSI based on road width. Use your fungible compensatory area. Understand TDR. Plan for inclusive housing. Reserve that layout open space. Follow the slum rehab rules. Design your marginal open spaces correctly. Ensure fire safety access and nail that OC procedure. That's your roadmap to success.
Because when you step back, these rules, they aren't just a bunch of restrictions designed to make your life difficult. They're actually a set of tools. They're the grammar of Mumbai's urban language. And once you understand them, you have the power to not just build a building, but to add your own chapter to the story of this incredible city. So the only real question left is, what will you create?